So this first play going to be an interception. This really isn't on Cam at all. Not much else Cam could have done other than take the sack. If you want to put the blame on Cam, there's really no way for Cam to win this situation. Either he gets, criticism because he took the sack, or he gets criticism because he threw the interception. So uh, I'll just show the play, and I mean I don't really feel like I need to go too in depth with this, but basically, guy comes off unblocked and just has a free run at Newton. Not a whole lot he can do there. He tries to, get rid of it, but obviously, I mean, it's not much you can do uh, in that situation when your line doesn't block. So this first interception, not really on Newton, but I've seen people giving him blame for this because it's easier to say that Cam was trash than to actually really look at why this didn't work out. And I'll put it in slow motion so you can see, but um, this guy basically comes off the line unblocked, and well, it's not even basically, he does. And these are the kind of the offensive line errors you really don't want to have. Um, this is a pretty big mistake on the line's part, and obviously don't want to see that. So we can skip ahead a little bit. So 58, well, hold on. So 58 basically, unblocked, has a free shot at Newton, and Cam, you see, he's trying to make the play that he's supposed to make, but that he's supposed to make, throw it to kill N'Keal Harry, but by the time he takes his arm back to throw, um, his arm's getting hit and the ball comes out. So not real on him, but I've seen people criticizing him for this play. You got to get rid of the ball. Like, okay. This here is going to be what I'm going to call a quote unquote missed throw from Newton. Really, it's a fine throw. But this is a play that people use as an example of Cam Newton's inaccuracy. Um, when in reality, this is a fine throw. Is exactly what you would want to do with the ball in this play. So I'll let it run first. I'll let the play run first. That way you can have the option of using the slowdown feature on your own if you want to look at it in detail. But you can see, Cam throws it so high, Bird can't make a play. People were using this play as an example of Cam's quote unquote inaccuracy. And let me put this in slow mo. This is a fine throw from Cam Newton, and let me tell you why. So Cam hits the top of his drop here, and by the way, let me just say this, get this out of the way. Um, the quarterback can't throw the ball before he finishes dropping back. The quarterback has to hit the top of the drop before they make any sort of throw with any sort of throw that's got any real pace on it. I mean, every now and then you'll see a quarterback, kind of throw while falling away or something like that, but that's not the ideal situation you want to be throwing the ball in, particularly on a play. You wouldn't really design a play to work that way. In other words, um, anyway, so uh, he hits the top of his drop here. He sees Birds about to come open, and by the way, this is a pretty far throw. So for anybody who wants to say, "Oh, Cam Newton, he doesn't have the arm strength," this is arm strength right here. He throws his ball high, but he also basically throws it on a line as well. And that's why this ball has such a high catch point for Bird. Now, why does he throw it so high in this case? Well, the problem with throwing, you can't throw this pass low because this guy here is sitting on the. I mean, you really got both of these guys here sitting in that throwing lane. So you don't have the option of trying to put this ball in a comfortable spot for Bird to get it. You got to put this ball, and also to consider that Jameer Bird is 5'9". So obviously if Demir Bird were taller. I mean, I'm not a a heightist when it comes to wide receivers, but 5'9" is not it's not the ideal height for a play like this, where you have to put the ball up. Um, so these guys here are sitting underneath or basically in that throwing lane, and what you need to do as a quarterback is you need to throw it high, such that they can't jump up and pick it or bat it, but it also needs to get there quick enough such that Demir Bird, such that it's not a jump ball situation. Because if you try to float this ball over to Demir Bird, again he's 5'9", you're basically creating a jump ball situation with a guy who's 5'9" versus somebody who's I don't know if this guy's is 5'9", or I don't know this guy's exact height, but I know he's bigger than 5'9". So you're creating a jump ball situation with a guy that's not even. And a jump ball situation is rarely ever what you want anyway. But if you do end up in that situation, you certainly don't want it with a guy that's shorter than the average NFL cornerback. So this ball has to go get there quickly, and it also has to be high enough so that these guys can't jump and pick it or bat it or whatever. And so that's why on this play, the ball, it seems like it's inaccurate if you're just looking at it from the standpoint of, oh, how much separation Bird has here. It seems like he's got a lot of room to throw it into, but when you consider that this is a human being throwing it over other human beings who can jump, by the way, and who, are probably pretty tall fellows, you have to throw it uh, high. And Demir Bird, good player, at least a good value player for what he is. But Demir Bird is not he's not he's not your a high end wide receiver, and all partially because just from a raw talent perspective, and also partially just because he's not super duper tall. Although I'm not saying super duper tall receivers are always good, but you get what I'm saying. So you can, I mean, look, you can say, oh, this was an inaccurate throw, whatever. Demir Bird, what you really need to be saying is Demir Bird needs to make a play on this ball. This needs to be in bounds. I'm sorry, but I get he has to jump. I get he's not super tall, whatever. But don't criticize Cam for Demir Bird not being able to make this catch in bounds. You know that's not really Cam's fault, because again, like I said before, he's got to get this ball over. Hold on, let me go back a little bit. He's got to get this ball over these two guys. He can't float it. He can't throw a high like arcing ball. It has to be basically a line that goes that ends at a high point. And that's what Cam does. Cam does a fine job here, and Demir Bird's not able to make the play. This is not inaccuracy. This is not having a receiver that's capable of making tough catches. I mean, you can say, oh, well, why does it have to be such a tough catch? Well, listen, if you're Demir Bird, yeah, it's a tough catch. But guess what? Your quarterback made a tough throw, and he gave you a good opportunity, and you didn't make it. So I can't really put much on Cam there. This is simply just not having the personnel. This kind of same point, keep reiterating, but this is a personnel problem. This is not a quarterback problem. The quarterback did fine here. All right, this play, Cam's going to get sacked on this play, so I'll let it run. And so I don't really think we need to necessarily see the other angle yet. Um, so basically, this is one of these plays where you're only really getting three guys out in the route, and nobody gets open in time. So when I say three guys out in the route, I'm not really counting him, because this is a second and 12. You're trying to get to the sticks. This is your check down pretty much. Um, that's not really that's not really you don't want yes, he's open, but by the time excuse me, by the time he has an opportunity, or by the time he could even think about the only opportunity he'd even had to take the check down is basically right at the beginning of the play, and that's obviously not what you'd want your quarterback to do on second and 12 when you're trying to get to the closer to the sticks. So Cam is the top of his drop here. Um, if you'll notice, I want to say this is Myers right here. Um, this guy is basically, jeez, sorry. Um, these two guys here, these two defenders here, are almost covering two people, like respectively, covering two people at the same time. And the way that they're doing that is by sitting within the throwing lane that this ball would have to travel. Uh, so in regard to this guy here, in particular, um, although you could say the same thing about him, in terms of him covering this guy and this guy, but basically in order for the ball to get to, I know again I want to say this Jacoby Myers, in order for the ball to get to him, it has to go over this guy, and again it has to get there quick because, like I said, you can't throw some sort of floater over there because that gives every other defender in the area time to get to and again it becomes a jump ball situation, which is not what you want to be doing if you're trying to take care of the football. So you have to get it there quick, and so it can't travel. It can't be too high, but he's way too close for Jacoby Myers for Cam to throw it high, but also kind of sink it in just enough for Jacoby Myers to really get it. Um, so I understand why Cam doesn't throw this. He's not really throwing the check down, and I don't blame him for not throwing the check down. Again, you're trying to get yardage. He's in a position where he can make a play on your check down. He can also make a play on Jacoby Myers. Um, so there's really nowhere for Cam. Like he's really, even though there's a lot of space here, you look like from the all 22 view, it looks like there's a lot of space because you have guys sitting on the route, or not sitting on the route, sitting on the throwing. Well, I guess sitting on the route too, but sitting on the throwing lane, you don't really have an option. Now, Bird later on becomes open downfield. I don't doubt Cam could hit him, hit the throw if given the opportunity. But the problem is that by that time he's already, he has to step up in the pocket and he's getting sagged and just don't have an opportunity at that point. So I think this is Bird. I want to say this is Bird down here. He's open here. If this were a clean pocket, Cam could hit him and for a big game. But obviously he's getting sacked, so he can't do that. So this is one of these plays where your guys, you can't. You're only getting three guys out on the route, and the three guys you're getting out into the route aren't able to quickly create separation in the middle of the field. So you as a quarterback, if you're trying to give the play a chance to succeed and not just throw it away or throw the check down, you have to hold the ball to wait for those routes to develop. And the protection doesn't hold up long enough for him to be able to make a play or make that throw. So this sack here is not really Newton's fault. This is, I guess, what you might call a coverage sack, but it's Cardinals really just got a good rush here, and Cam didn't really have enough time for this play to develop, and you can see why he steps up here. I mean, good. I mean, some of the best reflexes, honestly. You see how Cam steps up in the pocket there. Guy's almost like behind him, but Cam knows to step up in the pocket here. And you can see he wants to make that throw to Jacoby Myers, but he can't. He can't make that throw because, again, like we went over before, he can make it earlier because you've got a guy. I mean, it's not on the screen, but you got a guy in this, the bottom left corner of the screen that's not on the screen. You got a guy here that's sitting on that throwing lane. By the time Jacoby Myers comes open, to where he could throw it to him. So right. So wait. Right there, crap. Doggone it. Hold on. So waiting. He's got to clear this guy. So right when he comes level with this guy, he's about to clear him. Cam wants to throw this ball. So he wants to throw, he wants to lead him, but he can't because this guy here, is in his face. And obviously, I mean, you could argue maybe he could just, throw it anyway, but quarterbacks who do that get the ball knocked out a lot. And this to me is good. Good play from Cam Newton, at least in the sense of protecting the football. Okay, this is another one of these plays where you got Damiere Byrd, who I think is a nice complementary piece, but by no means is a number one receiver in any stretch of the imagination. Another play where you give Damiere Byrd an opportunity to make a tough catch, and he's just not able to make it. And so this goes down, even though Cam Newton, I mean, you consider that based on this play, Cam really only has like maybe a half second, if that, to hit this timing, to hit that window. And he hits the window. But Damiere Byrd just isn't able to make the play on it. And now let me go back. Hold on. Now, before I get any criticism about this, because it looks, if you notice, like Jacoby Myers and Damiere Byrd are kind of running sort of like their routes sort of overlap. You might say, well, why does he throw it to Jacoby Myers? Well, a couple of things. One, based on the design of the play, he's, at least from his perspective, it's clear he's supposed to be reading it left to right. And so if he sees Damiere Byrd open, it doesn't make sense for him to throw it to Jacoby Myers. Because if his first read's open, why would you look to your second read? Like, if your first read's open, just throw it to the first read, But more than that, even if Cam wanted to throw it to Jacoby Myers anyway, consider the fact that you got this mess here of linemen, in between you and Jacoby Myers. Whereas you basically got a one-on-one between you and Damiere Byrd. To me, I mean, me just imagining myself trying to throw a football, I would much rather take, two guys going one-on-one with each other to throw over than to throw over, three or four linemen, just like a conglomeration of of linemen over here. So even if again, Damiere Byrd's open on this play, and it's his first read, so I mean, throw it to the first read. Doesn't make sense to throw it to your second read anyway. But even if you were to throw it to Jacoby Myers, it's just an inherently more difficult throw because you're throwing over more people. But anyway, and go. I think this view gives us a much better sense of it. So, crap, I should have put it in slow motion. So Cam, as far as I'm concerned, Cam puts his ball in the money. Is it a little far? Like, is it a little out of reach, or is it a little far outside of for Damiere Byrd? Maybe a little bit, but then again, I mean, considering that he only has like maybe again like a half second, if that, to make this throw. I mean, just imagining this in real time. I can't really complain about somebody, not quite put, because if you put it too far in, this defender can pick it, or at the very, at least knock it away or something. So you don't want to put it too far in. I feel like Cam does a fine job here. It's just that Damiere Byrd's just not a good enough receiver, honestly. I mean, consider that if this is Tyreek Hill or Stephon Diggs, this is a catch. But because this is Damiere Byrd, it hits off his hands and he's not able to make the catch. or it grazes his hands, and he's just not able to make this catch. I mean, to me, you can complain about the accuracy here. I think this is a fine throw. I mean, considering again trying to make this throw in real time, not when you're sitting there watching the all 22 and can pause and rewind and all this. I think this is as good of a throw you can ask from a quarterback. What you really want to see is Demir Bird make that play. All right, this is another one of these plays, red zone play. Um, Again, just another example of your quarterback doing a good job to give you a good opportunity. I mean, when Patrick Mahomes makes this throw to Travis Kelce, nobody complains about this being inaccurate or when Josh Allen makes this throw to Stephon Diggs, nobody complains about the quarterback's accuracy on this play. But when Cam Newton throws it to N'Keal Harry, who can't make who basically drops his catch, or drops his pass. Um, Crap, I forgot. Sorry. When it's Cam Newton throwing to N'Keal Harry and he drops it, we want to complain about, oh, why did Cam throw the ball, or why did Cam throw the ball so inaccurately? This isn't, to me, this is not an inaccurate throw. I mean, you consider that you get a guy like N'Keal Harry because he's big, because he can make, or at least you expect him to make, physical catches, contested catches, right? And just from my personal experience of throwing to guys who are, throwing the football to a guy that's tall, that's kind of the advantage of having a big guy like that is you have more room for error. Although I don't think this is really an error on Newton's part. I think he's just trying to put it away from the defender. But you do have more room for error, and you have more room to work with in terms of placing the ball away from the defender. And I think the end zone angle kind of gives us a better view of this. But consider that if Cam Newton throws it, quote unquote, more accurately, to where it's in a more comfortable place for N'Keal to make a play on, consider that N'Keal Harry does not have much separation on this play. And so if he throws it to where it's comfortable for N'Keal Harry to catch it, he's also necessarily, by virtue of not having much separation, he would necessarily be throwing it in a way that's also more comfortable for the defender to make a play on the ball. And so when you see him make a throw like that, you can say that this is inaccurate, but what this really is putting the ball away from the defender. Trying to put the ball somewhere that only your guy, again, N'Keal Harry, big guy, you get a guy to make these kind of catches, or at least that's the idea. And when he doesn't make it, it's like, I mean, I'm not going to crucify him for dropping it because it happened. Just like missed throws, I don't care how good you are, I don't care how good the quarterback is. Quarterback's going to miss throws. And similarly for receivers, I don't care how good your receiver is going to drop some passes. But you still hate to see, N'Keal Harry make a drop like that when this is kind of what should be his forte, sort of a high, contested catch, right? This is ideally his forte. You hate to see him drop it. But even if again, I'm not going to crucify him, but if you want to let him go with dropping that, or if you want to forgive N'Keal Harry for dropping that, don't blame Cam Newton for him not being able to catch that, because Cam Newton did what he was supposed to do on that play. It's just that N'Keal Harry couldn't make that catch, or didn't make. It's not that he couldn't make the catch either. N'Keal Harry could have made the catch, he just didn't on that play. Okay, another similar play to that N'Keal Harry play, except this one's going to Jacoby Myers. I will say that this ball is I do think this catch, at least for Jacoby Myers, is probably a little more difficult for him to make. Just considering that Jacoby Myers is not the fastest receiver, but it's still a catchable ball, and also too considering that Jacoby Myers doesn't have a whole lot of separation here. Cam Newton can't really afford to try to put it, right on, Jacoby Myers. He kind of has to throw it far outside in order to keep the other defenders, to prevent the other defenders from making a play on this. So, let me watch this in slow motion now. And maybe skip ahead to when the ball is actually snapped. Boop-a-doop. Okay, so Cam Newton, he's looking, and Jacoby Myers does have separation here. So he cuts upfield. Cam Newton throws it, and right here, watch where if he were to throw, if Cam Newton threw the ball inside a little more, so that it was closer to, like, I don't know, closer to his shoulder, to Jacoby Myers' shoulder, or closer to his hip, let's say, or whatever. Consider that you got this guy right here. The further, if you make this to where it's a quote unquote more accurate throw, right, to where it's closer to Jacoby Myers' body, consider that you're also by necessarily making this, or giving this defender a better opportunity to make a play on the ball. You could say, like, yeah, this isn't it's not right on Jacoby Myers, but it really can't be because of the coverage. It can't be right. Sorry, it can't be right on Jacoby Myers. It has to be, Jacoby Myers has to reach out for this ball in order for this to really to be a catch, because again, like I said before, Jacoby Myers doesn't generate a whole lot of separation here. So it has to be, it has to lead Jacoby Myers, by a good amount to keep it away from the defenders. So Cam Newton really gives Jacoby Myers a good chance to make a play on this. It's just that Jacoby Myers is Jacoby Myers is not Devontae Adams, so he doesn't make this play. And again, I'm not going to crucify him for not making this play, because that is a tough catch. I think it's probably a tougher catch for him than that N'Keal Harry catch, or I should say drop, was before. But it's still, you still would like for him to see him make it. And this again just goes to show you that what it's like throwing the football to guys who are not elite receivers, who are not true number one pass catchers. When you're throwing to guys that are not at that level, you don't like plays like this where where really a tough catch is the only option on this play. This isn't, it doesn't work out, because you don't have the receiver that can consistently make the tough catch, or at least more consistently make the tough catch. And so this goes incomplete. And Cam did a great job here. Put it exactly where the ball needs to. I mean, people talk about inaccuracy. This is exactly where Cam needed to put the ball. This is an accurate throw. It's just that Jacoby Myers is he's not Stephon Diggs, so he doesn't make that throw. And I'm not bashing Jacoby Myers for it, but if you're gonna be forgiving to Jacoby Myers, don't then place the blame on Cam Newton by saying that this is an inaccurate pass. 3rd and 7. Cam's going to take a big sack here. And at first, I do think that it looks as if, looking at this play, I can understand why somebody would think that Cam Newton kind of, just missed the opportunity. But I think when you look at it, again, considering that this is a human being playing against other human beings in real time, I think when we look at this closely, you'll kind of see why the ball comes out late, or at least, or not, what doesn't really come out late. Why Cam Newton doesn't throw the ball when it appears from the all-22 view, at least, that he should. So let this play run. But what you'll see is that Cam Newton. What happens here on this play, and what causes the sack really, is that from Cam Newton's perspective, it looks like to him, David Andrews is about to get beat. So, and actually, let me show the other routes first. Let me talk about these first before we go into that. So, Cam Newton reading this on this play, he's reading right to left. So he's looking. I want to say this is Bird. He's looking for Bird. Watch see if he's open. He's not open. Looks at Jacoby Myers again. This is good. Quick reads. Like these are not. This is very fast reads for a quarterback. I mean, I don't know why people seem to think that Cam Newton can't read the field well enough. Cam Newton reads the field insanely fast. So he sees Damiere Byrd isn't open. He looks at Jacoby Myers. He sees Myers is open. And the reason, like you might say, well, why does he throw the ball, right now? And the reason why, if you look at it from this angle, so we go. So I want to get to the same part where he was looking at Bird. Okay, so he takes a snap, gets to the top of his drop, right here, looks at Bird, sees he's not open, looks for Myers, he sees Myers is open, but see the problem is that on this play, Myers, he can't throw, he can try to throw the ball right now, but the problem with trying to throw the ball right now is that one, Newton would have to reposition his body in order to make this throw to Jacoby Myers, which gives a cue to these guys here, these linemen, that Cam Newton's about to make a throw, which will cause them to put their hands up, which greatly increases the odds of this ball being tipped and possibly intercepted. So what Cam is waiting on, he sees Myers is open. He's waiting on Myers to come into this area because, as you can see, he's got a lane here, a clear lane that he could put this football through if Myers can make it here. But what happens, and you can see how quickly Newton reacts to it, Andrews looks like he's about to get beaten right here. It looks like this guy's about to beat Andrews. Now Cam doesn't know at this point that Andrews is going to recover here. So from Cam Newton's perspective, if you believe that this guy's about to beat, David Andrews, obviously you have to move out the way. And also too, he's also in a better position. He's also kind of blocking that throwing lane he wants to throw to Jacoby Myers. He's also kind of blocking that throwing lane anyway that he wanted to throw to Jacoby Myers too. So what Cam, at this point, Cam, and again, this is just so so good his reads, because I shouldn't say most, but I think a lot of quarterbacks, especially younger, inexperienced quarterbacks at this point, they would just give up on the play. Cam Newton, he sees this guy instead of just dropping his eyes or just trying to run off with the ball or something. He still looks to his third read, which is really, really good. I mean, just high level quarterback play right here, and it's just it really irks me to hear the way people talk about Cam as if he's like a high end backup. Like, no, this is high level quarterback play right here. He still looks to his third read and sees that that's not open, and once he sees that's not open, he at that point he's just trying to bounce this out to the outside and try to pick up something, but he doesn't have time, and he ends up taking the sack. So you see a play like this, and it's like, well, yeah, it looks like from the All-22, and just another example of why I think a lot of people who do film analysis, I think some of it's just not really trying to understand what it's like to make these throws. It looks like from the All-22, at least from this view, that he has Myers open, but then when you consider again that at this point that Myers is coming open, he can't throw it. He can't throw it right now, or at least not safely. He can't throw it safely right now. If you're trying to protect the football, you can't throw it right now because you would have to throw it over these linemen. Cam does what you would want your quarterback to do. You would want your quarterback to wait until you have a safer window to throw into. But Andrews kind of stumbles or whatever. I'm not sure what exactly happens with Andrews there, but he kind of stumbles, and that makes Cam think, oh, like crap, you're about to get beaten. And so he, immediately, drops off that route, looks to his I mean, that's just really, really good quarterback play right there. I mean, that is some top notch stuff. I have to say that that is some top notch stuff. I mean, just instantly, like he sees Andrews, stumble, and he immediately looks at that third read. Again, a lot of quarterbacks would just give up on this play and just try to run off. But Cam actually looks at that, like instantly looks at that third read, and it's not open, but it's still really really high level play that you're seeing out of Cam Newton here. I mean, really one of the best in the business. Just amazing, quarterback play. But anyway, point is that even though it looks like, from the all 22, from this view, even though it looks like right here, Myers is open, he could throw it. Again, consider that he's throwing behind other people. I mean, people just really ignore, underneath defenders, and I think that's why it's, part of the reason why so much analysis about quarterbacks is bad. He can't, he's trying to wait till he's in a more open window, but it just, David Andrews kind of stumbles, and that throws Cam off. Cam looks to his third read's not open, and he ends up taking a sack. But even though this is a negative play, statistically speaking, and in terms of field position, whatnot, this is a negative play. Cam Newton, this is a good snap by Cam Newton in terms of what you would want a quarterback to do from a process perspective. And for that, all I can really do is give Cam credit there and praise. 3rd and 14. This is another one of these plays where just nobody really gets open. But Cam takes the blame for not being, accurate or for, not making an accurate throw on this play. But basically, he's going to wait and wait and wait for everybody to get open and just try to make something happen, and nobody gets open downfield. So he just he does his best to try to get to N'Keal Harry, but it just doesn't work out. And it's not his fault. It's just that nobody is open on this play. So, again, like I said before, I'll let this play run in its entirety before I start messing around with it, because I would prefer for you to be able to, after I say what I say, for you to be able to look at it yourself in real time and have that opportunity. Cam Newton, wait, hits the top of his drop about here. He's ready to throw. Again, consider that, this is 3rd 14. You need to get to the sticks, which is up here. So what you're really looking to do is try to get the ball to one of these guys here. And neither of these guys are open, on this play. And what ends up happening is that this guy, and again, just another example of Cam Newton's pocket awareness. I've heard people criticize Cam Newton's pocket awareness. I really just think they don't know what they're talking about. I mean, this is, just natural, just slides up the pocket just naturally, and just escapes out and just tries to make something happen. Now, I want to say this is N'Keal Harry here. And you can see the whole time, nobody's really open down here. Because everybody, you got this guy sitting underneath, on this route, and you also have the corner and the safety up here as well. I mean, there's really nowhere to put this ball at any point during the game. And now, I think you can maybe criticize him not throwing it to N'Keal Harry earlier. But I think when you consider that, how far behind the sticks he is, I think he really doesn't want to, try to. I don't think he really trusts N'Keal Harry to get to the sticks if he gives him the ball. I'm just going to be honest. And I can't blame him, because I don't really think N'Keal Harry makes it, even if he does, throw it to N'Keal Harry. I don't think he makes it here. And again, just look at that. I mean, just amazing, like just perfect, just doesn't panic. It's not a panicky move. He just does just enough, and he moves at the right time to escape what would have been a sack. He, again, consider that you got a corner, the safety, and you got this linebacker sitting underneath the route. or I'm not sure if he's a linebacker. He might be a cornerback. I don't know. Um, this, even if you could say that he could try to sneak this in. Uh, I mean, you consider that he's being chased, you know. So I mean, obviously you're running full speed and trying to throw against your body, or trying to throw across your body. That's not a high percentage throw, and you're throwing to a receiver that's not an elite receiver. I mean, when you see Patrick Mahomes make these throws to Travis Kelsey, that's one thing. But asking Cam Newton to make that, now I don't doubt Cam Newton has an arm strength. I think he has enough arm strength to do it. It's just that you're talking about throwing. Again, you see Mahomes throw to Travis Kelsey like this, or Tyreek Hill. You know, you're talking about two of the best. Some of the best pass catchers in the league. Um, when you're making this throw to, I want to say it's either Demir Bird, or I think it's Jacoby Myers. When you're making this throw to Jacoby Myers, this throw requires a lot of trust, and I can understand why Cam Newton wouldn't pull the trigger on that if you're trying to keep the ball safe, or trying to if you're trying to value ball security. So he just kind of throws it at the last minute, and I think you could maybe say this is a. I mean, this almost is an interception. Um, but I don't really fault Cam Ford, because at this point he's just trying to do something. He's just trying to make something happen, and I can't, even though yeah, it's a risky throw. I can't really blame him for it, because it's 3rd and 14. You really don't want to get off the field, but when you're throwing to guys that just aren't at that level, you just don't really have a choice. So I think Cam did a fine job on this play. Maybe outside from trying to get it to Bird, I think maybe he could have just ran it out of bounds, but or but even with that, I'm not gonna kill him for trying to make something happen. With how terrible this offense is, I can't really blame him. Okay, last play here. This is gonna be an interception. I can't really blame Cam, or I'm not sure how much blame I want to put on Bird. I don't. I think Bird. I think the reason why Bird doesn't make this play has less to do with Bird not, you know, doing his job well, and more to do with the fact that he's just a limited physical talent. Um, so I don't really. I wouldn't even really blame Demir Bird on this play, or Cam Newton. I think it's basically Kirkpatrick, at least in my opinion, kind of got away with a bit of a hold, and that allowed him to be in position to make an interception on this play. Okay, so put this in slow mo, and let me wait till. Okay, so the Mirror Bird's gonna run a comeback basically, and I think based on the way this play turns out, I really feel like this is kind of like an anticipatory play. Um, Either that, or Cam was really just expecting the Mirror Bird to break sooner, to recover more quickly than he did. And by the time he throws this ball, Kirkpatrick's already on it. But if you notice, and let me move my cursor so you can kind of see it better. Kirkpatrick, basically he puts his hands on Bird. I think he's kind of scared the Bird's about to run past him, but then Bird kind of comes back, and Kirkpatrick, he kind of overcommitted to Bird, which I guess you could say is a good job done by Bird, at least in that regard. And so he kind of grabs Bird and kind of uses Bird to reposition himself. Um, and this kind of throws Bird off balance and gives and gives Kirkpatrick, a better opportunity, at least one that he wouldn't have had otherwise, to make a play on the ball. So really, and based on some of the flags, some of the ticky-tack flags I've seen thrown, to me, this really should have been a flag. I mean, I've seen flags thrown for much less contact than this. Um, I really feel like this should have been, some sort of holding or pass interference. But and I want to say this is beyond like 5 yards. Like I think this is past 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. Let me make sure though. Um, Let me see. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is beyond 5 yards where this contact happens. Yeah, this is like yeah, this is way beyond the 5 yard line. So, I mean, to me, this should have been a flag, but it wasn't called, and so it ends up as an interception. Not only thing I could blame Bird for on this play is not being like DK Metcalf, but that's not really Bird's fault. So, um, not I'm not gonna I can't really blame Cam or Bird for this play. Honestly, I mean I think Cam expects Bird to not be grabbed in that way, and to have already recovered from the comeback route. And again, Bird did a pretty good job at fooling Kirkpatrick. It's just that Kirkpatrick got handsy and grabbed Demir Bird and kind of threw him off balance. So I wouldn't really. Again, this goes out as an interception for Cam, but I don't think Cam did anything wrong really on this play. To me, this is just a flag that wasn't called, but that's just how I feel about that.